and go for some King of the Hill.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, one of my favorite game modes in TF2 is King of the Hill, and it is a map mode that's played often in a competitive. I've called Clockwork the king of Viaduct, which is a King of the Hill map. Of course, he's not back, but it's those skills of King of the Hill in Team Fortress 2 will transfer over to King of the Hill here, so it would be interesting if they do opt for that game mode.
Yep. I will say that so far the trend has been that the more veteran teams don't want to play it, but sometimes just the map ban works out in such a way that you end up playing it anyways.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Code7 can bring too. Like, yes, we just saw them with a dominant performance, but it's against a team we don't really know all that well. This is going to be a really good measuring stick to see where Code7 actually is right now.
Yep, we do see Volsky and Temple of Anubis immediately getting removed. So again, Temple of Anubis, perhaps the most hated map in the game, getting taken out in the first rotation.
Yeah, you just keep enjoying that, don't you? Every time it gets taken out, I think you're just smirking a little bit.
I mean, I have to play that it in pub, so really just seeing it never played and just sort of seeing it be this pariah of the map pool, and somehow it does give me a little bit of joy.
You know what Anubis has going for it, though, is it's a great Widowmaker map.
It definitely is, although, it depends on what the other team is running. There's times where teams can sort of deal with it, but sort of the unorganized nature of pubs means that sometimes Widow can just wipe an entire team on it.
Yeah, defensive Widow on Anubis is a joy to play. If you're in Overwatch, give it a shot. But we do see Hanamura actually banned out as well, and then Watchpoint Gibraltar also banned out.
Yep, Gibraltar is taken out in the end. And so we left on the map list, we have Dorado, Kings Row, Numbani, both King of the Hill maps, and Hollywood.
Yeah, all we know is that we're not going to be seeing any capture points, and we're definitely not going to see Nepal. So if we do see King of the Hill, it's going to be back at Lijiang Tower. Other than that, we're going to see a payload map.
Yep.
That map is not going to be Hollywood, as it's banned out by Code7.
You know what, Hex? Dorado's still on the table.
I think banning out Hollywood is actually really smart too, knowing that the Pharah play out of Mixup is probably going to be high level, and Hollywood is a great Pharah map.
Yeah, but so is Dorado. I mean, Dorado has so many areas that come from above to flank to do otherwise. I mean, you even have that entire area after the first capture point or first checkpoint where Pharah can just go to the sky, and it's really hard for other people to get around on her. You have to take a really long, like, roundabout way to actually get to that upper area on Dorado.
Yeah, Dorado definitely a good Pharah map. Kings Row lesser in the Pharah map, which is why we've seen her fall a little bit out of the meta too. So I think a lot of those decisions on what the team might be running as far as heroes is coming into these map bans.
Yep, there goes Dorado. We will not be going to Dorado. We will be going, however, the Kings Row or Lijiang, two maps that we have already seen today. So a little bit of repetition, but I'm curious to see what sort of different strategies and matchups we see coming out of Kings Row now that it's Mixup and not Backlash on the other side.
Yeah, I think Not Enigma from Phase 1, one of their favorite maps was Kings Row, and they were ultra aggressive on it, and they were usually very good at the offense of Kings Row, a little lesser on their defensive side. So this is definitely a map that Mixup is going to be comfortable on, but we've also already seen Code7 look pretty good on Kings Row too.
Yeah, no, Code7 definitely had some impressive stuff coming out, especially if you looked at their Wombo combo potential. In fact, let's take a quick look at the replay from that on the last game, because, man, it was impressive stuff. Again, this is GosuGamers replay. This didn't get play of the game, but man, it was still so impressive. Watch the power of Zarya and Reinhardt here. Two tanks just completely controlling this last fight and slamming the door shut on Backlash. Jojo walks in, drops the Earth Shatter, Graviton surges out, and he just swings the hammer, and the entirety of the Backlash team gets destroyed. That was amazing. Now, of course, Mixup, no stranger to that sort of wombo combo gameplay. I definitely sort of expect to see similar stuff coming out from them.
Yeah, and the winner of this match actually is going to go on to face Eccentric. Since we didn't fill out the rosters entirely, we didn't have enough sign up, so get your teams and sign up. I can urge you again. But Eccentric played 2-Arc earlier. Eccentric won 2-0 against 2-Arc. So they're waiting for the winner of Mixup and Code7 in the semifinals. Melty is going to be playing the winner of Su or Sa versus V in the other semis. So it's possible that the winner of this game versus Eccentric is going to be playing Melty in the grand finals.
Interesting. So yeah, for those who are just tuning in, while this is an NA tournament, one of the cooler things about Overwatch is that it's been relatively compatible with cross-region play. The netcode has been good enough to really allow sort of teams from one side of the Atlantic to play teams against the other side of the Atlantic. And it's been good so far. So for right now, we don't see a reason to change it. So this is an NA tournament, but we have some of the very best from EU participating today. One of the notables missing is the EU champion from yesterday, IDDQD. They just had some people that couldn't make it, but they were signed up.
Yeah, they were signed up to some, that's a lot of Overwatch to play in 2 days. Sometimes people just have other commitments they have to do. Not us. We're here for the long haul. And our GosuGamers weekly number 3 NA is sponsored by Rocat. The winner of this going to be taking home $120 this week. And of course, we'll be back next week, Saturday and Sunday too. So clear your weekends out. Weekends are for Overwatch, people.
Yep, every week we're going to be bringing you some of the absolute best in competitive Overwatch action, and this is early on. You will get to see the meta evolve before your eyes, and even just in the last beta stage, we saw a lot of variations come up. Sort of what teams liked from one week would change pretty radically in the next week, with the only things really remaining the same is that people really liked Reinhardt, Mercy, Lucio.
Right, and like watching so much Overwatch in the weekends and kind of the, we're not region locked, but we're region centric. You do kind of get a different feel for the meta in Europe than the meta in NA, and you can see a meta change and evolve over the course of a weekend or over the course of even an afternoon. We casted for 7 hours yesterday, and the gameplay kind of evolved during those 7 hours.
Yeah, it definitely did. One thing that I'm curious to see from the NA stuff today is that already in the first series, we saw that there was a little bit more willingness to use the recently buffed characters. We saw some Bastion play that wasn't too shabby. I'm curious to see if Mixup will also bring that into the fold and go, okay, we're going to do this X, Y, and Z. And also, Hex, I'm a terrible person because I was saying, yeah, we're about ready to go and they're waiting for a player, but you weren't in the game.
Yeah, I was just sitting outside looking through the window in your glorious lobby, waiting to be invited. It's all right.
I mean, you could have just, just sort of ad-libbed a bit. I think this is happening, and,
it's all right.
Do your best. So right now we're just waiting for Enigma to restart his PC, and as soon as he gets back in, we're going to be good to go.
Well, Enigma just jumped in back now. What was interesting, talking about running the Bastion too, I think a lot of times teams might run a character just kind of out of the norm, just as a curveball. We saw Bastion, maybe it wasn't the best Bastion play, maybe it wasn't the best decision, but it completely altered Backlash's plan, and you don't have a ton of time in Overwatch games to adjust to a new plan on the fly.
No, you certainly don't, and just sort of, I think, random situational mix-ups can be very effective. One of the bigger things that you see, of course, that was seen by many teams is that they will randomly throw in a Widowmaker, sort of get some quick snipe kills before people realize, oh crap, there's a Widowmaker, and then switch right out of it. But it can be very effective for one series of plays.
Yeah, Widowmaker, when you don't know she's there, it's just brutal. But her weakness, of course, and especially in these competitive and organized games, is when someone calls it that she's dead. Someone's going to go deal with her almost immediately. But the element of surprise of those Widowmakers, and even offensive and aggressive Widowmakers, is something we've seen work very well.
One of the bigger, I guess, habits teams are going to have to get into is always hit tab and check the switch-ups, because you can see the switch-ups immediately, but if you're not camping that tab page, you might not see it until you take a bullet to the head from Widow.
Yeah, it's part of that situational awareness. A lot of people wanted early on to have notifications pop up on screen of like when a hero switched to another hero and make it very vibrant and noticeable. But you have to balance that. Some of the responsibility of game sense and knowledge is on the player too. And tab is a button that, is part of your keyboard kit that you should be using.
Yep, and we are in game. This is Mixup versus Code7. We're going to see Mixup on the defense first.
Okay, I'm curious if they chose to go with that first. I kind of remember them always wanting to be on offense first, so they might have gotten pushed onto defense here. But regardless, we get to see the new, not Enigma, now Mixup, go against Code7.
Well, Enigma was always on their team, so maybe just call them Enigma at this point. I mean, clearly,
sure.
It's not Enigma, but it is Enigma.
Yeah, I want to look at their roster, definitely. So they're on defense. Ruin is actually going to be on Mercy. Pure is going to be on Lucio. Harblue is going to be on Pharah. Milo is going to be on Reinhardt. Seagull is going to play 76. And Enigma on McCree. So I'm a little confused, a little thrown off by it. Pure playing a support. Harblue playing a soldier equivalent in the Pharah. Ruin actually on a Mercy support as well. I thought some of these fraggers were going to play a little more aggressive. Seagull off of Pharah on a 76. A whole lot of interesting stuff going on with this roster. Yeah,
although, it's not that surprising. I mean, you take a look at it. Hang on. That being said, let's take a look at the Code7 roster real quick. We have Bread Expert coming in as Zarya, Zelnick as Mercy, Waffletastic as Lucio, Torque on McCree, Trudel once again repping the fair, and JoJo on Reinhardt. No, but what I was saying is that we do have Seagull now trying out the 76. 76 was newly buffed, and let's just see what he comes out with on it.
Yeah, it is similar play to when they were not Enigma. They do like holding the high ground here, and that's definitely their defensive stance. They want to be up in windows and to poke away from a distance.
Yep. And 76 is so good at this, so sort of taking a stance back, killing Reinhardt's shields, and just being effective at laying down solid, consistent damage against an entirety of an enemy team.
Yeah, and it forces the combo to go up top to try to deal with this. We see Trudel and the Mercy going up top to try to clean them out, and they get some positioning.
Yeah, we see Trudel, though, taking off to the skies, trying to go in here, is able to take out Hardblue, so some nice play from Trudel coming out there, but both teams taking losses, and it's looking like this is going to be a successful defense for Mixup.
Yeah, too many losses on Code7 to keep fighting through that, and there was just enough people alive to keep spattering out the kills for Mixup.
Yep. And really, a lot of them, they were worn down quite a bit by the 76 to start in from. Even though no one outright died, 76 won't usually get those outright kills. It's just a lot of sustained fire coming out that sort of goes, okay, well, we have to wait for this to be healed up, and not all it's going to be healed up by the time you finally get into that decisive fight.
Yeah, it's so much damage, and we see that damage actually coming into play with Mixup now having 2 ultimates ready. Both Resurrection and Earthshatter are ready. Huge
Yep, they're coming in. Oh, the Earthshatter knocks down 3 people from Code7. What a charge coming out from Milo here. That is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's the tough part of trying to run into ults. 4 dead immediately. The Resurrection doesn't even have to be used, and now the ults are going to start staggering. Enigma's High Noon Deadeye's ult up. Pure's Soundberry up. Hardblue's Barrage up, and no ults up for the offensive team right now.
Well, that was pretty much a 6-for-1. The only person who ended up dying on Mixup side was Seagull, but they paid a very heavy cost for taking out that bird.
Now, the first offensive ultimate is up. It is going to be Mercy's Resurrection, so they do have the opportunity to get very aggressive.
Here comes Hardblue. Look at Hardblue. He's setting up for the barrage. Is going to drop the barrage. Will take out Trudeau. Might take out Torque. Torque went for the Deadeye. Was able to take out Ruin, but not a whole lot else.
It's a defensive Deadeye. It does take down their Mercy and their Pharah, but there's 4 dead on Code7 right now. They can't continue this push.
Yep, Earthshatter's gonna come down. I'm not sure it was needed. They were all so low anyways, and big shout-out to Enigma. We were watching Hardblue and all that, but Hardblue took out 5 members of the enemy team there with a combination of just good Peacekeeper shots and the Deadeye.
Yeah, Enigma definitely getting work done as McCree here. So these pushes have not gone very well. Now that we're entering a more ultimate-centered stage, and they do have Aerial Barrage up and their own Earthshatter, so we could see a good initiation from JoJo here.
Oh, look at Trudel. Trudel's like really trying to be sneaky, hugging the corner, very high up in there. And here he comes down, is going to drop the barrage, takes out 2. Will he get the triple? Does not quite get the triple, gets taken out by Seagull on the top. So that's some nice heads up play by Seagull. Seagull getting the cleanup from the top.
It was a nice barrage. It took out priority targets. It took out the supports. However, everyone on Code7 died. So there simply wasn't the follow-up kills and the elimination of Seagull. Seagull's been hanging out. Seagull owes rent up there right now. He's been there the entire game.
Yeah, and you saw this a lot coming out from both Envious and non-Enigma the most, where even in the last patch, I enjoyed putting soldiers in position like this, and wow, JoJo is just getting DPS down by the combination of Enigma and Seagull there. And take a look at Enigma. He does have Deadeye up. Will there be a good combination with it? Res up, no Earthshatter. He's trying to shoot down Trudel. Will he get it? And yes! Takes out Trudel, 3 well-placed Peacekeeper shots, and things are looking pretty nice for Mixup here.
Yeah, at what point do you start switching up heroes now? I mean, you're going to stay on JoJo because he's got the Earthshatter ready, but maybe start running in some Winston, start running in anything to try to deal with the 76 up top. Maybe a Widowmaker you put on the opposing ledge and try to get that pick early on, but they need to do something a little different. Here comes the initiation, though.
Yep, here they come, and look at Enigma. He's holding on to Deadeye. He wants to get Deadeye value here. Looks to take out Torque. Will he be able to do it? He's going to run from the Deadeye. Hardblue takes out Trudel. Nice barrage coming in from him. And here comes Enigma not actually really getting an opportunity to use Deadeye because everyone is dead from just a big combined effort from Mixup. And now Code7 only has 45 seconds to take this first point.
Code7 was way too split up there, and their McCree was too far back. He was just looking for the really money ultimate to go off of that Earthshatter. The Earthshatter came down and got a couple. The ultimate for McCree was a little bit too late, but during that time, he wasn't close enough or focused enough on doing damage just with his Peacemaker.
Yep, taking a look at this. Milo does have Earthshatter. The Deadeye is going to come down. Trudeau's going to be shot out of the air, but not much else. But still, that's a big person down. Earthshatter comes down. Milo bites it, though, so this might be what Code7 needs as they come in. But look at the res coming up. Code7 back to full strength. but
Both supports down for Code7.
They got taken out. Sorry, it was the in-game UI tricked me. It was Mixup back up to full strength. So really good stuff coming out from them, and there they go.
Yeah, that's you can't play that map any better on defense. Literally cannot. Nope. It was just they needed to do something about Seagull up there, and the more they tried to dedicate to it, the more they'd lost to it. It was again they're making someone focus on those upper areas is a really interesting tactic to deploy on defense.
I think, and this was the dead eye that we missed as Enigma killed everyone. So Enigma really, he sort of kept to that spot up there, but it was very effective. So you saw Seagull and Enigma both sort of sticking to their spots, laying down consistent damage as people came in, and it really made it difficult for Code7 to do what they wanted to do there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you beat that because they're both such good duelers that you can't just send one person at them. You know, you can't send, oh, just go clean up that 76, no big deal. You kind of have to do it from a distance, which I think perhaps is what Torque was trying to do on his McCree, which is why he was so far back. But I think running a Widow there or maybe doubling up on Pharahs and just pressuring out those doorways, maybe even a Hanzo to start spamming those doors too. But Seagull and Enigma just weren't pressured at all that game, and you let those guys sit back with their hit scan classes and just poke at people, and you're going to be in for a rough day.
Yeah, you absolutely will be, and really now things are pretty easy for Mixup. All they have to do is capture the first point, and they will take map 1 against Code7.
Yeah, let's go for like 6 Winstons. Just go at it. Maybe not, but I'd like to see it.
6 Winstons. Now that'd be bringing us back to the good old days of, I think, week 1, where we actually did see that come out.
We have a couple videos from GosuGamers for just our pickup games where we do a 5 Winston strat, and it works out really well, but it might not be the high-level play. It might not beat a team like Code7.
That being said, so we didn't see Mixup decide to come out with the Bastion or Torbjorn, but Waffle-tastic going to bring out the Bastion, that was pretty effective in the last game.
Yeah, we'll see if they do the same spot for it, which I think was a great spot to put it. And right now, there's no immediate answer on Mixup to go deal with it, except maybe Seagull on Genji.
Actually, think about it, where they put him last time was where Seagull was standing. So Seagull and Waffle-tastic basically had the same idea. Just Seagull wanted to bring a soldier up there for more mobility and more flexibility, and Waffle just said, you know what, I'm just going to go turret mode up there, man.
Yeah, a little more DPS. You think Soldier 76 is good at long-range poke? Well, Bastion's really good at long-range poke.
Yep. Definitely curious to see what Seagull brings out with the Genji there, and how hard he's going to go in on the Bastion, because Genji can go in on Bastion, but it's not the guaranteed win that it used to be.
Yeah, Bastion definitely is not the sitting duck that he used to be. I found that out the hard way a couple times. They changed him. He used to only be able to shoot in 180 degrees. Now that's a full 360. Of course, that comes at the loss of his shielding, but he is able to better defend himself, and his transitions are a little quicker. On offense, we're going to see Mixup bring Ruin on Mercy, or Ruin now on Lucio, double Lucio composition with Pure on the other Lucio. Milo is going to be on Reinhardt, Harblu on Pharah, Seagull on that Genji, and Enigma still rocking McCree.
Yeah, so we're going to watch this Genji approach here, because this is actually one of the more tricky parts of about this map, is that you sort of have to expose yourself a little bit as Genji as you come in. It's not, usually a free thing, but look at Seagull masterfully getting back here. I don't think anyone even knows he's back here. Pharah has no idea, but Pharah does have that Zenyatta orb on her, so that's going to be a little bit tricky for Genji to deal with, at least straight up.
Oh, and they took a really good route. They go right below Bastion. He can't get down there to shoot on him. Harblu goes up and tries to contest a Bastion one-on-one. That's a bad time. Yeah,
but two people... right now, one person is down for the Mixup side, and this really has been sort of a disorganized offense from them. They're going to have to regroup.
Yeah, I mean, part of it might be they know that they just have to capture this point. The McCree is behind the whole team.
Look at Waffle-tastic there here, though. He knows that they knew where he was in the last push, and he's just repositioning a bit, trying to keep it sneaky.
Enigma dueled down the Reaper in the back line, so each team going to be down a player right now.
Yep, taking a look at Harblu. Harblu going to be the Pharah here, and will he see the Bastion? He does see the Bastion, drops the rocket, gets it back, and look at this. He's flanking the Bastion now.
Yeah, they switched off one of the Lucios, went to a Zenyatta to give Genji that orb of harmony, so Genji's in the back line right now.
That was some nice play coming from Harblu. Harblu used the concussion blast to boost him forward to the Bastion, give him just about enough time to clear it out. And just like that, Mixup is going to take out the entirety of the Code7 defense and very likely win this map.
Yeah, I really do want to see these 2 of 2 players on Pharah and using her her mobility, because it's similar and it's different from soldier mobility in Team Fortress 2, where rocket jumping is a thing. Rocket jumping not a thing in Overwatch. You have a jetpack, but you do have that like energy surge, which provides momentum in one or another, but it's a lot trickier to use. A really cool play from Harblu, kind of going back to his soldier mobility roots on Pharah.
Yeah, no, that was great. I mean, I really enjoyed watching that push in there. They had a little bit of trouble on the first push in, but they were a little bit more coordinated going in. And man, just Heart Blue's sneakiness and getting in there, that was great.
Yeah,
I guess I was gonna say, were they really going for play of the game here? But yep, they are. So we're gonna wait for that. We'll switch back to the in-game view. Why not? I thought for the.
Yeah, I think part of that first push and why they were so scattered is they thought maybe we can just bum rush and get some frags, but knowing that they have 8 minutes to capture the first point, I don't know how super serial they were taking it.
And right now we are watching the winner's victory drive. We've seen sort of a victory parade boated sorts. Teams do this just because they want to see what the play of the game was. And then Reinhardt runs near the payload and delays it by a little bit. Itchy trigger figures all around Hex.
Yeah, everyone being funny in chat, saying just let it happen. Just let it happen.
I've got you in my...
Teams getting a little bit cheeky with each other and all the rest, and what? Alright, so team's not really able to keep their guns to themselves here. It's just like, yeah, you know, do the slow victory parade, but...
Well, we have a moment, and let me just implore Blizzard to perhaps implement an official stopwatch mode.
Or, at the very least, maybe a referee, like, decision where you can just end the game or something and go straight to play the game.
Perhaps.
Something like that would be pretty cool.
Well, right now you're watching the end of Mixup beat Code7 on the first map
Oh, wow.
in our round of 8. This is the GosuGamers NA Weekly number 3, sponsored by Rocket. I'm gonna say it 7 different ways today, I think.
Yep. So, play the game was Seagull. Let's take a look at this. Dropping the Dragon Blade and getting a little bit of extra value, but really it was sort of a triple effort there. We had Harblue taking out 2, I think Seagull taking out 2, and Enigma taking out 2, so some very coordinated DPS efforts coming out of Mixup there.
Yeah, some nice reflex early on from Seagull to start off that play of the game, too. That's one of the most frustrating things about Genji, is the counter to Genji sometimes is don't shoot at Genji.
Definitely is a thing. So, we're going to be taking a short break.
Get back to map 2.
Will be a short break. We'll be back with the map draft of map 2. This is Code7 versus Mixup. Mixup now going up 1-0 versus Code7. Will Code7 be able to turn it around and force a game 3? Who knows? Stay tuned. And we are back with the GosuGamers Overwatch Weekly NA Cup number 3. I am ZP, usually joined by Hex. Hex will be back in just a moment. But we are just about ready to get into the second draft of Code7 versus Mixup. For those who are just tuning in, Mixup is up 1 map to 0 over Code7. Mixup, of course, being a mix of former non-Enigma players, including Seagull. And they were looking very, very, very strong in the last game. Now, excited to see if there's any sort of changes here or not. I know that Code7 was pretty comfortable with King's Row from the last series of games, but they might opt to switch it up a little bit here because, of course, I think King's Row might have been non-Enigma's best map in the previous phase of beta, so it's no surprise that they're doing really, really well with it this time. Now, just waiting now for the teams to ready up. They have been given the all clear to start the draft. And, you know, for those who are just tuning in, there is a little bit more map variety in this stage of the Overwatch beta. What we're seeing is that teams are not necessarily adverse to playing King of the Hill. Usually we've been seeing the Paul, but even in just the last series, we saw some of Lijiang Towers as well. And I know for a fact that if you go and look at the teams that are screwing right now, teams are actually screwing in the King of the Hill mode quite a bit. Now, there's varied opinions. Some players like it, some players don't. But, you know, we'll see. Said, the map banning is underway. Code7 will be taking the first ban here, and if form follows, they'll likely be banning out Temple of Anubis. And Hex, I see that you've returned.
I'm back. I thought we were on a longer break. Want to get coffee?
Oh no, it was not good. Like in between that, like 4 minutes.
Yeah, I take my time. I'm a leisurely kind of guy. But Temple of Anubis is banned out. I think we're just not going to see control points today.
Yeah, it's very possible we're not going to see control points, and yeah, it happens. I do think, Hex, though, it's going to happen at some point, and it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, I hope it's Anubis. No Dorado, though. Definitely not coming up for our next map, as Code7 bans out Dorado. So there is still control point left on the board. How good
is
did
in fact
Mixup look
still
there? That was impressive.
They looked great.
Very rarely see King's Row get defended on first point. Like a minute or two stalling out is great, and that's usually considered a pretty solid defense, but that was phenomenal.
Yep. Chat being filled with the praises of "We want Hexa chair."
Yeah, it's great.
I know I opted to just go straight to the draft screen instead, but you know the chair has sage wisdom as well.
It's got more personality than I do. I'll give it that.
I mean, it's a good chair.
It's quality. I've had this chair for so many years, man. It's at this point where it needs to be replaced, but I just can't part with it. It's too sentimental.
You know, at some point you might get hit with one of the great chair companies that are around and be like, "Hey, use our chair instead," and then you'll be not only be in it potentially a better chair, but also be fully selling out.
I have sat in those DX Racer chairs. They are really nice, those DX Racer chairs. If I could have any chair, it would be a DX Racer chair. You think that'll do it? You think maybe
that's a little bit of a, yeah. I mean I think that's adequate amounts of selling out, and you just sold out for free. So I mean, you're not necessarily doing the selling out right. But there you go.
Got to start somewhere. All right, so our last 2 maps available are Hollywood and Numbani, so we're definitely going somewhere new. And we're going to Numbani.
This is awesome. I love Numbani. It was sort of a map that people were staying away from yesterday, but looks like we are going to be getting some Numbani today. So, seeing if sides are final. We're curious to see if we have the same attack defend as last time. Maybe we'll see Mixup change up their choice just a bit.
Yeah, I always considered not Enigma a more offensive team, more aggressive team, just for how they played, and it always seemed to fit their style better. But we saw last map they can really, really take that defensive stance when they need to.
They definitely can, and yeah, I mean, I think teams in general are pretty flexible, and they're getting more flexible as time goes on, as people get more used to the game. They're sort of like, okay, attack first, defend first. I mean, in theory, it's not, you know, there's really pros and cons to either side. Obviously, if you attack first, while you don't know what time you have to beat, there's not as much pressure on you versus if you're defending first, then you know that if you let them set a really good time, it's bad. I mean, there's really multiple different ways of looking at it.
Yeah, Numbani, we saw that was our first taste of Bastion yesterday on Numbani. They had a pretty decent setup. There's Bastion up overlooking the
Yep.
second point with a Mercy on him, but just focused down very quickly. It is a good map for a Bastion and a Shoreborn. There's a lot of doorways and areas you can stick them in that I think work out really well. We might or might not see it here. These teams are comfortable with the Bastion, of course.
Yep, it looks looking like we are switching up. Mixup is mixing it up and going on attack first this time, so they will be setting the pace.
Yeah,
So definitely a change there.
it'll be interesting to see since they are setting the pace if we do see a double Lucio again because it's a long map. It's a long while from where you spawn to that first point. So getting there as quickly as possible with the Lucio is an important strategy.
Indeed it is. So both teams setting up now, and I believe we are ready. The players are ready, and we're going to be going right into Numbani.
Yeah, Numbani just always has kind of that Star Wars feel to me. It looks like Naboo.
Naboo, yeah. I was just thinking the same thing, actually. Great minds, man. Great minds.
Yeah, great minds, and ours also think alike. Haha.
Oh, damn.
So-
Savage.
I think, we're not going to see them on defense, but one of these first points, we saw Hubris when they were Hubris, now Envious, kind of just set a Soldier 76 or a Pharah on this top ledge and just camp, just hang out, do that distance poke. So I think we're going to see some of that when we see Mixup on defense. We'll probably be seeing Seagull hanging out on the point with his 76 poking away.
Yep. And just about, we got told, can you guys at least wait before we're sponsored to sell out? We screwed up, Hex. We screwed up. But taking a look at this, we do see the Code7 defense on the way out. Waffle-tastic repping the Soldier. So as we were just talking about Soldier, we'll see if he's going to go on that sort of same perch that we saw Not Enigma and Envious used to great effect back in Beta Phase 1.
Yeah, pretty standard defensive loadout coming out from Code7. They've got Zelnick on a Lucio, Waffle-tastic is on the Soldier, Bread Expert is going to be running the Mercy, Torque Joe is going to be on McCree, Trudel on Pharah, and Jojo on Reinhardt. So nothing super off meta right now, no static defense, but I think they're going to use that Soldier 76 much in the way you'd end up using a Bastion anyway.
Yeah, and taking a look at the mix-up side, we got Pior on the Lucio, Harblue on the Pharah, Ruin repping the Winston, Milo on Reinhardt, Seagull on Genji, and Enigma on the McCree.
Yeah, just last second switch off the Winston there. We do see Seagull on Genji without a Zenyatta though, so he's going to be a little more vulnerable. They're running double support with Mercy and, well, there comes the Zenyatta. Pure switched off Lucio and goes to Zenyatta. So they're not really looking for the speed. They're looking for just absolute destruction from their Genji.
Yep, and we're taking a look here at the Soldier, and we see here the Soldier's like very content to stand far back, and this is a bit of what we saw coming out from Mixup last game on King's Row, so you see Code7 embarking on a similar strategy here.
Yeah, they put Trudel on the high ground, of course, taking advantage of that splash damage, and there is a confrontation up in this hallway over here between the Reinhardts.
Yeah, the Reinhardts are fighting, and Milo's going to come out on top of it, but in the end, both Reinhardts are going to be taken down. But we see McCree going down as well, Seagull going down. So both teams really just swapping kills here, one for one thus far.
Yeah, it's getting pretty scrappy down there. Now, the Genji went in and tried to take down the combo, does end up picking off the Mercy.
Yeah, Pior was able to get 2 kills, almost a third as a Zenyatta, so some really nice Zenyatta play coming out of Pior. And this might be just enough for Mixup to set the momentum and get the payload on the way.
Yeah, it's a really fast first cap there. I mean, it's pretty much their first attempt at taking the point. They took it. Really strong pace set right now by Mixup.
Yep, and taking a look at the Genji here, we see Seagull is going with the offensive Genji, does have the Harmony Orb on him, which gives him a lot more survivability. And let's see if he can get any pickoffs as Genji here. And just note of Genji's tempo here, Genji really likes to poke from a distance, and then only go in when he knows he's going to be able to secure a kill. It's sort of this, balance between long range and then immediately short range.
Yeah, and the distance closer of his blade dash is just really brutal to deal with, and you never know when it's coming. And also the fact that he can defend himself with his reflect makes him really hard to counter.
Oh, and Seagull, he might be making his move here. Hex, he almost has Dragon Blade up. He only needs to land a few more shurikens to go. That Discord is up on Pharah, so he might try and take that out. He's landing the poke from long distance, and just see Mixup making consistent progress. And what a flank from Enigma. Deadeye kills 2 people. Rez is down, but the Dragon Blade is out. Seagull slicing and dicing. Picks up the kill on Jojo, but really the heroes there, Harblue and Enigma, setting that up.
Yeah, Enigma with the Deadeye gets 2 kills immediately. Then they followed it up with a sound barrier and an aerial barrage. And this is going to be the power of Genji. Seagull is able to go up front. He's kind of part of a combo now, even though Zenyatta is safely tucked away. He's got that orb on him. He can apply pressure. And it looks like he's going all the way around for a flank.
And you take a look at this here. This is just incredible time being set by Mixup. They are doing exactly what they want. We see Reinhardt charging Reinhardt. Will he crunch him? He does. But Milo's going to go down as well, so Milo not able to live long enough to get his Earth Shatter off. I was waiting for it, but it didn't happen. Taking a look at Torque. Torque right now trying to keep the peace with Trudel. Trudel gets off 2 kills, so Mixup going to get pushed a little bit back here. Their undisputed push has been stopped. Wow, some nice McCree play taking out the Zenyatta.
It was a good defensive sound barrier that went down there too, and even though they ended up losing a few, this card is in a really far position. They don't really have to worry about going through the tunnel with the card in there. The card being in the tunnel is actually really problematic for tanks trying to get around it and get good positioning.
Now we're taking a look at Reinhardt. Honestly, there's all the time in the world right now for Mixup. They don't have to feel that pressure. They can take their time, set up here, and get, just go for a really solid push that might end the game in one fell swoop. Take a look at Milo here, because he's really going to set the pace with Earth Shatter, should he go for it. They're trying to deal with the other Reinhardt shield, and I assure you, once that is down, Milo is going to be looking to go in.
Yeah, all ults up for the defensive team right now, though.
Oh, Harblue able to pick off Mercy in the back. This is huge, and you're going to see them go in just off this. Dragon Blade coming out from Seagull. He is going to take out Waffle-tastic. He's still in the backfield. Is he going to dead the Ferret? No, he's able to avoid it and add damage that takes her out. And just like that, Harblue with another 2 kills. Seagull finishing off McCree, and this could be GG.
Yeah, but the resurrection comes off, and they are back in this fight.
Kinda. The problem is, it was a bad, it's not so much as bad res, but they resed in a not great position, and they just weren't able to get too much off of it. They had to go for the res if they want to hold this, but I think there's just too much momentum for the Mixup side here, and they're just going to roll to an incredibly fast Numbani time, X.
Yeah, that was brutal. A couple of the ults that came out from Code7 seemed like panic ults, and in particular, the aerial barrage that came out from Trudel. He was spinning in circles trying to find someone to hit and ended up killing no one.
So that was about a time of about 4:15.
That might be the fastest time I've ever seen on this map.
It was a really, really fast time.
Now there's Zenyatta play of the game. Those Discord orbs, and then he does so much damage just with his basic attacks. And the basic attack is one of the coolest sound designs in the game.
So the official time is 4:17. That we're going to be dealing with for the next game.
Yeah, so everyone voting for Brett Expert's Mercy. Not sure what's going on with that. Wow, level 43. What a nerd.
You know what? I've seen there's already level 50 Sex, and it has a great, Mercy-like portrait with wings and everything. It is glorious.
That looks great. Mixup, though, not slowing down at all. The dominant performance on King's Row on defense does it. They didn't even allow Code7 to take the first point on King's Row, which in itself is amazing. And then one of the fastest times I've ever seen on Numbani. They looked dominant. Their coordination is off the charts.
And again, Code7 now has almost mission impossible. Time to beat 4:17. That is brutal. I mean, if they get hung up on the first point at all, it's basically going to be GG.
Yeah, if their push gets stopped twice, it's definitely GG. I wouldn't be surprised to see it get called in chat if their second push fails. There's very slim margin for error here.
Yeah, I mean, Mixup really only got stopped, what, 1.5 times there? So the margin for error is just effectively non-existent.
Yeah, what was funny is even when they were stopped and they lost a team fight, Pure was still hanging out on the card as Zenyatta, pushing it just a couple more feet, because knowing he's going to die anyway, he's out of position. He's just going to, at least do something productive with the last few moments of his Zen life.
Lucio, always a team player, even helping people get out of the spawn a little bit quicker on defense. But that being said, let's take a look at the defense. Repping it from Mixup, we have Pure on Lucio, Enigma once again on McCree, Seagull on Torbjorn. We're gonna get some Torbjorn play. Harblue on Pharah, Milo on Reinhardt, and Ruin on the Mercy.
So offensively, it looks like they're kind of mimicking Mixup's offensive strategy earlier. They're going to run a Zenyatta with Brett Expert, and Turkjo is going to be running the Genji. They're going to follow that up with the staples, that is Reinhardt and Lucio, played by Jojo and Zelnick respectively. Then a bit of some off-classing. Trudel is going to be playing Tracer, and Wolf-tastic on Soldier 76, so kind of looking for that speed of their offense right now.
Yeah, and they're going to have to be speedy, man, because they just do not have much time to waste. The timer is started. 4 minutes, 15 seconds does remain. And will Code7 be able to pull off the impossible and force a map 3?
Yeah, we'll see where they choose to aggress here. They're going the typical route, all the flank, and they're moving very fast. They know that the time's already running out.
This is a color change. Seagull's usually using the yellow Torbjorn, and I think for tournaments he's busted out the green. Look at this. Enigma and Milo not wasting any time. Milo with a great charge, takes out the 76. Enigma just finishing off the Reinhardt, so some very, very quick action on the right side of the map.
Yeah, 3 quick deaths for Code7, and that's really gonna hurt. They can't try to push in right now. They're gonna die if they do. The Genji is going in ill-advised, in my opinion.
Yeah, and look at, they're actually playing pretty far up. Enigma, that's pretty far up from McCree, but I think he just feels like he can get away with it. I mean, they only have to stall them for a little bit longer to make it just mathematically impossible for Code7 to win.
Yeah, the Genji's out alone. He did get eyes on the turret, so at least they know where it is, and maybe they're gonna choose a different route to get in there first and take out that turret.
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, if they're gonna go in, they need to go in now. They need to be coordinated. They need to wipe all of Mixup, and they need to move. See, Trudeau right now getting just 3 shot by Enigma. Enigma keeping the skies clear. We do see Genji going in. Torque trying to make something happen in the back. Not quite able to get a pick off. Trudeau did take out Seagull.
Milo right there, too. It takes out 2 on the point. Bread Expert tries to retreat, and he gets eliminated.
Yeah, this is just not looking good. I mean, this hold alone is probably going to spell GG.
But here's the strength of Torbjorn over Bastion, though. The Pharah goes in and she focuses down the turret. Now, that turret did eventually go down, but it traded with the Pharah. Now you've lost a player for a machine that can be rebuilt and is back up. So it's really different. It's almost like adding an extra player on your team, or at least a half a player.
Yeah. This is just rough for Code7 right now. I don't really think there's much to do. And look at the ultimate situation. There's so many ults up for Mixup. They're winning on effectively every phase of the game. Milo going for the crunch, not able to get, but oh, Harblue with the rocket barrage takes out 4 people. And that's got to be game.
It's very close to game and a demoralizing, very close to game. Milo with the Earth Shatter, and you know what's really easy to hit people with rockets is when they're lying on the ground.
Yep. That was a great combination, and I think you could actually call GG right now and be mathematically right, but yeah, we're gonna let the teams play it out, see where it goes.
Yeah, and Code7 needs to get a little confidence here. I mean, even just taking the point would help them going forward in future tournaments, knowing that, hey, when we're really at our best, we can beat Mixup.
Yep. I think if they were just to capture point A right now, or the very first point, it'd be a little bit of a moral victory.
Right, but
that's probably what they're going for.
Yeah, but if they want to be, one of the top teams, then they need to start getting practice against a team like Mixup, who's shown themselves to be nothing less than dominant so far.
Yeah, I mean, this has been very, very impressive for them. In fact, the time to beat now is about to strike a minute, so is almost certainly mathematically impossible for Code7 to win here now on Numbani, which means that Mixup will be moving on.
Yeah, not necessarily surprising, although Code7 looked really good in their early match. Mixup is just on a different level right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that it's not like Code7 is a bad team. They were able to beat one of the more veteran teams in the beta in Backlash to start things out, and they looked good doing it, but Mixup is just, as you say, they've been on another level, and they brought it today. Yeah,
they finally get some kills. Seagull goes down and Milo goes down, so they might actually get this first point. It's a really nice transcendence to really ensure that everyone stays alive and well during this fight. A nice, what is it? Fire strike from Reinhardt?
Yep. Oh no, Reinhardt! Not like this, man! We saw JoJo just taking the charge of doom. Wait, where's my camera's in the abyss. All right, we're now out of the abyss. So, JoJo going of a ride of his own volition, and that is GG, going to be called down 5 seconds. I'll call it to make it easier. There's no awkwardness.
A couple good kills from Hardblue there. Some progress there. They finally did get a couple kills.
So, calling the GG as time has expired, and that's where it is. I guess I think they're just gonna let it run out here, or hold it, or any case. But
wow,
Mixup has officially won, and they will move on to the semifinals.
Yeah, Ultimate's coming down just for show and glory here. Although 4 dead, 5 dead on Mixup. Wait, no, 5 dead on Code7. Never mind.
Yep. So let's see the play of the game. It's almost certainly going to be Hard Blue dropping the Rocket Barrage and then some.
Yeah, but it really should be Reinhardt because he put them all on the ground with his Earth Shatter.
He did, yeah. And Reinhardt had the setup. Maybe he'll get the credit. Who knows? Oh, he did get the credit. All right, there you go. The game knows more than I do sometimes.
Yeah, that was a great play by
Orange
Milo.
oh, and
go ahead.
does the fair go down as well? Nah, I was just see. It would have been cool if he got the fair as well. But still a great play coming up from Milo. Just sort of the combination of ults coming up from Mixup, very, very potent.
Yeah, we've seen their coordination just work out really well. Even on the offense there, when they flanked with McCree and Enigma paid his life for it. He had the high noon, so he got a couple kills off, died, but then all their attention is focused on that back line, and they come in with more ultimates, another Earthshatter, another Barrage, and so even dealing with one of their ultimates, the way they stagger and time them has been very difficult for teams to deal with.
Yeah, and that was just, I mean, it was just great play in general for Mixup. Can't wait to see what they bring for us in the next round. And in fact, let's take a quick look at the bracket before we go for a break here. We have yet to update you guys, see if there's any surprises or otherwise going in. Oh, there is a surprise. So, let me see if I can bring this up for you guys here. But yeah, so Vile, it looks like, has went down, Hex.
Yeah, Vile
They lost to Team Sue.
Prime.
Was it, oh, sorry, yeah, they went to lost to Prime, yeah. So Vile was taken out early. That's surprising. I picked Vile as sort of a dark horse for the tournament, and they're out early. Of course.
Yeah, before we went on beta break, and Vile was kind of reforming out of some players from other teams, so they don't really have the time yet together to really judge them yet, but it is kind of surprising because a lot of those players are really strong on their team.
And of course, on the side of the bracket immediately below us, we did see Eccentric take out 2Arc. 2Arc, of course, one of the more newly sponsored NA teams. Definitely a little bit of a disappointing finish for them, but in the end, no real shame either. Eccentric has been one of the strongest teams in the EU, so now we're going to get to see some of EU's best go up against Mixup.
Yeah, and now we get to start the good old NA versus EU debate. I'm sure chat will have fun with that, calling NA ultimates, EU ultimates, etc.
I mean, if you're a Mixup, don't mess up an ultimate. You don't want to be the NA ult.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, so Mixup versus Eccentric. That's a game.
All right, so what I'm going to say here is that we're going to take a quick break. This is the GosuGamers Overwatch Weekly NA Cup number 3. I'm ZP, joined by Hex, and we'll stay tuned. We'll be right back with the semifinals. Mixup versus Eccentric.